Welcome, folks. I am Anika Larsen. I'm an actor, a singer. I am the mother of two little boys who are 6 and 8 and know just how to tug on my heartstrings and wear on my last nerve. And I am your host for tonight's Meet the Parent, where we talk to artists about how life in the theater affects their parenting and how parenting affects their life in the theater. Now, in case you didn't know, New York City Children's Theater's mission is to promote children's literacy and social development through sustainable, accessible professional theater productions and arts and education programs. I joined the board of New York City Children's Theater because of the really impactful outreach that they do. They do music and playwriting programs in public schools, community centers, homeless shelters. They do anti-bullying programs and a touring bilingual multi-sensory musical. They've created a trauma-informed toolkit to help educators work with children who've experienced trauma. And we also provide programming for free on our website, including Start the Conversation, which is a series that helps parents talk to their kids about big topics that can be hard to navigate, like racism, gender, or consent. And on top of all of these phenomenal programs, we are the only company in New York City that does a whole season of original new plays for families. You can get tickets right now for our hit show, My First Nutcracker, which runs from December 2nd to the 21st at Theater Row. Our incredible education department brings arts education programming to kids all across New York City, all 5 boroughs. And here to tell us a bit more about these programs is New York City Children's Theater's Director of Education, Madeline Calandrillo. I always ask you, and I want to make sure I get it right.
It's perfect. Yes.
Nailed it. Hi, Maddie.
Hi, Anika. Thanks so much for having me on.
We love having you here. We're so excited because I really am so proud of all that New York City Children's Theater's education department does for the kids of New York City. And I want you to tell us all a little bit about what you and everyone in the department and all of our teaching artists do.
Yeah, so we have about 35 amazing teaching artists who bring award-winning education programs to all 5 boroughs, like you said, of New York City. And on average, we did the math, and we're about 10,000 students per year that we serve.
Wow. That's a lot. That's a lot for 35 people.
yeah. And then sometimes Frank and I jump in too, so.
Sweet. So tell us, what exactly does that look like? What does that mean that these kids do?
Yeah, so we have our signature residency program called Literature Play, and our teaching artists use theater and music as a tool to adapt a children's book into an original musical. And teachers tell us that this program helps students with their confidence, language skills, and reading comprehension.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think artists, we all know the power that the tool of theater and music is. But of course, there are so much research and so many studies that have shown just how useful a tool, how effective a tool it is for learning.
Yeah.
And I know also that the education department also offers touring productions. Want to tell us a little about that?
Yeah, sure. We have 4 touring productions that visits classrooms and community centers all across the 5 boroughs. I'm pretty sure that you were at 5 at Rockefeller Center when we were there.
I sure was.
And there's in this beautiful picture, there's Piper the puppet, and Piper discovers the 5 senses through the 5 boroughs of New York City. And last year we adapted 5 to the bilingual version in Spanish and English, and it's called Cinco, and that travels to school as well. And that's really it's a lot of fun. And then we also have 2 anti-bullying programs. They're workshops. One's called Avery Story for kindergarten through 2nd grade, and then we also serve for fair and square, which is our older grades 3 through 5th grade. And through those pieces, students witness moments when the characters face really difficult decisions, and they explore the potential dangers of reactionary decision making and the consequences of those decisions. And then the students even get to become actors themselves, and they take on roles within the drama, and it's really cool.
Wow. Yeah. We think a lot about as actors, our jobs are inherently empathetic. We are literally, our job is to put ourselves into other people's shoes. So asking kids to do that task you can't help but see things from other people's sides. That's just so incredible. If anyone watching wants to book an education program for their school, their kids, how would they go about doing that, Maddie?
Yeah, you can visit our website at nycchildrenstheater.org. It's a pop-up. And then you can also email us at education@nycchildrenstheater.org.
Amazing. Thank you, Maddie, for all that you do. And for all the work that everybody at the education department at New York City Children's Theater does for the kids of New York City.
Thanks, Anika.
Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye. All right. It is time to get to our guests, but first, we welcome you to ask our guests questions of your own. So if at any point you have any questions, you can type them in the chat or the comments section, and later on, we're going to ask those questions for you. Okay, our first guest tonight is Jenn Gambatese. Come on out, Jenn. Hi, Jenn.
I'm here.
How you doing?
I'm good.
Jenn most recently played the mom in Mrs. Doubtfire on Broadway, and she has also been on Broadway in School of Rock, Tarzan, All Shook Up. In All Shook Up, fun fact, I was her understudy. Actually, wait. That's a great picture because do you see the woman behind her? I think that's me. I think that literally that's me.
In your blue suede shoes.
Yeah, I'm crushing it back there.
Yes,
and
you are.
Also Hairspray and A Year with Frog and Toad and Footloose. Yes, Jason Crispin, who's our technical director, is amazing. He finds these photos all over the internet somehow. He's a master detective. She also toured the country as Glinda in Wicked, and she and I worked together a lot on the Broadway Green Alliance to help make the theater industry more sustainable for the sake of our kids, right?
Mm-hmm.
Jenn is the mother of Joe, who is 14, and Charlie Jane, who is 8.
Yes.
And our second guest is Sharon Catherine Brown. Come on out, Sharon. How are you?
Hi. Am I there?
You're there.
Oh,
You're
good.
here.
Okay. Hi.
Sharon is the daughter of Broadway performers, so we'll for sure be talking about that because that's a new perspective we haven't heard about on Meet the Parent. I met Sharon doing my very first professional gig, Rent. And she was already legendary back then. She was the youngest Dorothy in the original production of The Wiz. She was the first Black woman to be cast as Lucy in Jekyll and Hyde. And she has also performed on Broadway in Caroline or Change, Head Over Heels, Dreamgirls, Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, Maggie Flynn, and she will be returning to Broadway in January in The Days of Wine and Roses. Well done, Jason Crispin. Look at all those photos.
I feel
amazing.
It's like Jason broke into my lingerie drawer or something. I feel so like, what is he doing in my home?
You've never felt so seen in a good way? Sharon is the mother of Elijah, who is 19.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into it, guys.
Let's do it.
The first question I always ask because I think it's a nice way to get to know people, and also because it's a question that I'm asked every time I take my kids for their checkups, their yearly checkups at their pediatrician. There's this form I have to fill out with like developmental milestones, and can they stand on one foot, or can they, I don't know, read a sentence, or and then it always ends with, what do you like about your child? And I find that very moving, that my pediatrician thinks that part of my kids' wellness is knowing what their parent likes about them. And I find it moving every time. So what do you guys like about your kids? Jenn, we'll start with you.
We'll start with me. I didn't know that was from your pediatrician. That's amazing.
Yeah, right.
What I like about my girls, and I have my girls with their boy names. So it's Josephine, she goes by Joe, Charlie Jane, Charlie. And what I love about my girls is the same thing that is sometimes challenging with them. Oh, did I say my one just barged in right now? Come here, Charlie. Come here. This is live.
Hi, Charlie.
Yeah.
Welcome.
So, Miss Anika asked me what I like about my kids, and I was about to say that what I like about both you and your sister is the same thing that's challenging sometimes, which is that they question things. that they, you know, sometimes it's frustrating when they're pushing back against me and my will and what I want. But my girlfriend Shoshana said, she said, it might not be the kid that you want at the moment, but that's the woman you want them to be. So
Amen.
Shoshana.
yeah.
Amen.
What I
Yeah.
love about you is that you ask questions and you kind. How old am I? That's the question she's asking right now. Yeah, I forgot. I'm 48. I'm 48, people. All people.
I forgot it.
Oh yeah, that's right. Because she's 8. She always remembers because I was 40 when I had her, and I like that she asks questions. But now we're gonna pass on to Miss
I
Sharon.
like that. I like that Jen looks like she's 12. That's what I like. Jen, I have to say that almost verbatim, that is my answer.
Hmm.
And I have a boy. I have one young man, and I think that is just a brilliant. It's more. It is the truth of what it is to be a parent. That the thing that causes us to bump heads now, I'm always aware of the fact that it's only because it's mother son, and I'm, I'm the mom in this. So determined, and he always works it out. He's stubborn. He is just tenacious, and literally he can survive anything and anywhere. And I actually love that about Elijah. Love that.
Mm. Mm. Wonderful. Sharon, let's stick with you. And so what are some of the best parts about being a parent in the theater? What are some of the sort of highlights that, because you're a performer, made being a parent or continue to make being a parent particularly joyful?
I think the biggest thing for me was because I've started so young in this industry, and because I just every pore of me loves being an actress and loves being in the theater. The biggest thing for me, and still to this moment, I didn't is knowing and finding out that there's something I love more than that.
Mm.
Because when I was younger, I knew I wanted to be a mom, but it was like this thing, almost like, uh, okay, I got that. You almost like having your ducks in a row, but until you become a mother, you don't feel your heart. It's like the Grinch's heart does this thing. I'm not saying I'm a Grinch. I'm just saying you don't have the capacity to understand that kind of love from that point of view. I got it from my parents. But I never thought there was anything that could dwarf the love that I have for being an actress. And that's my favorite thing about always saying, yeah, I'm Elijah's mom. I'm Elijah's mom, because there's something that I love so much, and it pales in comparison to the love that I have for my son. And it is this, within this cool tribe that we all belong to, there's this tribe inside of it of mothers who are doing theater. And I love having conversations with my friends who are moms, and the funny things that we share because we're parents. I love that so much. And it is unique, to, in addition to being working mothers, we are in this incredible industry that makes a bazillion dollars for others. That's why we were on strike, that, um, it's and that also what it requires to be in this industry while you're a parent. And sometimes, I'm not saying it's not hard for the men, but I can only speak as a woman, and we have to juggle in a really specific way. that because we're women, I don't think the men will ever really understand that. We lose time, the way we lose time to do something this important is different than the way men lose time because of the way we are perceived and what we can't ever change.
Mm.
You know, the perception is, yes, I know you've had a baby, but I still want you to be a size 2 for the rest of your life. Yes, I know you stepped away for a bit, you know, like,
Yeah.
so I just think we're, you know, I think that it's incredible to be a part of that group of women.
Yeah. Jen, what about you? What are some of the best things about being a parent who does theater?
Some of the best things about being a theater making parent are the things I get to expose my kids to. So I think the biggest one that comes to mind is when I was on tour with Wicked and Joe was 3 turning 4, and my mother gave us the best gift and came with us.
Mm.
So my husband Curtis was, holding down the fort, and he hung up his proverbial tap shoes, so he's not in the business anymore. So it was me, Mom, and Joe making memories across America,
Oh,
and
nice.
that was like very pinch me. Many, many moments of like, wow, I'm showing my daughter that you can live a big life and be a parent, and that it takes a village, with me, Ma, coming with us.
Yeah.
And that I think one of the biggest learning things for me on that experience was being mom and dad. I mean, Curtis is very hands-on and very much part of the parenting process, and we kind of divide a lot of things along somewhat more traditional ways. Like, he's the outside guy. I don't, like, weed whack and like drive the tractor and stuff.
Does
Literally,
he drive a tractor?
Same.
he does. He's like a little kid with
Wow.
his Tonka. Yeah, we moved up to, I call it Reburbia now. I'm further. I'm
That's
not
so
in
funny.
Westchester County anymore. I'm up in Putnam County, and
Oh,
it's a lot
you're
more
the
nature. And
wow.
yeah, it's only like an hour and change to the city, but it is Reburbia. We've got like horse farms and a lake, and he got his tractor. Doggone it. And that is his tractor. So anyways, but even on tour, it's like up until that point he was more of the like rental car person, and so I was doing all that stuff that we normally divided and conquered, making the Airbnb reservations, and that was great growth for me. And I think even as young as she was, it was great for Joe to see that. But to get to take her to New Orleans and like all across America, that was great.
Yeah, I love that. 3 generations of women.
Yeah, it's cool. And I
That's
knew, and I have this one memory of my mom in the laundromat in New Orleans. It's like really hot and humid, and she's like, "Go play with her. Go. You got play with her." And I came in, and my mom was like sweating buckets, and they both just lit up like Christmas trees when they saw each other. And I was like, "Oh my gosh, we're doing this together. We're doing this weird thing together."
yeah.
It was great.
Oh, that's lovely. All right. So, flip side of that question, what are some of the hardest things about being a parent in theater? What are the things that you struggle with?
Oh my
Jen,
God.
I know.
So many.
So many. Okay, if they're top of mind, you first, Sharon.
I mean, but I know you guys relate, but the number one thing is being away. Now, my son is older than your children. Um, and I just would, I want to put my son under a dome, a glass dome, and put him on my mantle, so where he'll be safe for the rest of our lives. I don't, I didn't know that I was going to feel like this. I adopted my son, so I didn't give birth to him. And when the first time that I was doing a show after becoming a legal family, I was in the dressing room going, "What's wrong with me?" I just wanted to be with my son. I never had that moment before, and this was a show that I really wanted to do, and I was in the dressing room going, what am I going to do about this? I didn't notice, I didn't know I was going to have that moment until I was in the middle of the moment. And I was like, I just want to go home. I was like, what's happening to me? I was like, am I being unprofessional? That's the hardest thing for me, is that I I literally wish that my son could have just been backstage with me at all times, and even now that he would have his college dorm half the time, and then in the dressing room with me half the time. That's what I wish. It's just the distance, and so, and you always feel like you're not present enough, no matter
Yeah,
how
but
present you are.
yeah. I mean, I wonder how much all parents feel like that, but I think especially because we work such weird schedules and you miss a lot of bedtimes. Yeah, I wonder if there's sort of an added layer of that for us. What about you, Jen?
I think it's the same, and it is an added layer because of the bedtimes and the weekends.
Yeah.
So I found it, actually found it harder, have found it harder as my girls have gotten older and have gotten into more activities. So it's missing, the games and the concerts and the things. Um, but that's when I'm blessed to have a job. Um, when I don't have a job, the challenges include like sporadic childcare. Like it's just there's nothing consistent, and until there's something so consistent that it's eight
That it's
times a week and you're
unmovable.
missing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's it. Having to punt so much with childcare because and in that case it has gotten easier as they've gotten older. And they're 6 years apart. So now I've got like a built-in, can you get
Right.
off the bus person?
Yeah. Well
um,
planned.
yeah, not entirely planned, but we are lucky that
Works out.
Yeah.
but yeah, I think missing those things. What are the other challenges? Oh, I know one I thought about. It's kind of with the bedtime thing, and it's that when your voice is so tired and you have to like be on vocal rest and they want to talk to you.
Yeah. I remember once being on vocal rest when my oldest was a baby and feeling like the desire to, he wasn't pre-verbal, it was like a real baby, but the desire to engage with him and get his attention. And so I just started doing things like, I was like dolphin clicks and like whistle. I was going just to,
Totally, I did
I don't
that.
know, be interesting. It was so
That's so
weird.
funny. You sound like R2D2.
Yeah,
It's
RTD
really
too. That's funny.
I'm curious because I've actually been surprised sometimes by people when I ask how they've felt supported by the theater community as a parent, and some people haven't always. So I'm curious, are there ways that you have felt like supported by our tribe, and are there ways and times where you have been surprised or disappointed that you haven't been supported as a mother?
I'll go first if that's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
I have felt both. The support I have felt 100% from our colleagues, be it the Broadway Baby Mamas Facebook group,
Mhm.
or just my other, mom friends and dad and performing dad friends, but specifically the mom friends, because as Sharon was saying, I mean, it's a different
It's
thing, to
different.
be like yeah. And whether adopted or a birth mom, like, there's some very specific things. Pumping in an audition bathroom is like one of them. Like you're just like you have to figure it out.
Yeah.
But I have felt really, truly not only so supported by our colleagues, but it's cool to now be that support to my younger friends. In fact, shout out to Emily Borromeo, who's going to be watching the recorded version. She texted me, we did School of Rock together, and she's like, Jen, I have a 3-month-old and I'm
Oh,
gonna tune into this,
Ah,
and I had somehow the algorithm had missed me. I didn't know you had
yeah.
welcomed a baby, Emily, but
Yeah. I
she
know
was
Emily.
in
Hi, Emily.
yeah.
Yeah.
So she's got a 3-month-old now, and I can't wait to connect with her about that. I love to sort of, just be there for them the way other people were there for me. So that's kind of cool. And then in the less supported way, I would say, I don't want to throw any companies under the bus or general managers under the
Name
bus.
names, name them all.
But I have felt at various times less supported from my employers. And look, I get it. Like they're just trying to do their jobs, and but I don't get it, because there's nothing but benefit in supporting the parents in your cast, because you have natural leaders in that way. If you're a parent, you are not just a parent at home, but you wind up being parental in the company.
Yes.
And
natural nurturers.
Caring about your castmates. And I think that the times I've had to fight for, if it's regional jobs, housing, different housing accommodations, there's so many mamas who are like, I just need a bathtub, to put, or it's a small concession to say, hey, can my kid come, 1 or 2 Saturdays a month and be in my dressing room during the show? It's not like every time, but just because I don't see them on the weekends.
Yeah.
To me, it seems like such a no-brainer, and it's sadly, it's always a fight. It's always a fight. Your agent is always going to have to and I've even been willing to walk away and to say, my kid's more important than this job. So if you want me.
Yeah. But that does speak to, you've reached a certain level of success in your career. And I imagine there's not a lot of mothers or fathers out there who can't actually walk away.
100%.
And then, just like so many people out there with normal people, muggle jobs. Yeah.
We
What
are
about
the
you,
normal
Sharon?
people.
No, we're not.
I have completely 100% positive, supportive in a way that each thing that I'm thinking about as you ask that question could bring me to tears. From the day that Elijah was adopted, literally starting from that day, I was doing a show. And you guys know, when you have a shorter rehearsal period, every minute is important. Losing a day or half a day is a big deal when you're getting ready to, go live. And the show that I was doing, the director, the late Israel Hicks, who was an incredible director, very well respected, is the first person to call me Elijah's mom, and he called me that. He only addressed me as Elijah's mom.
Oh,
He was like, Elijah's mom, I need you, and it was the show Crowns, and it was, just an incredible group of people. I was supported. I was like, we just started rehearsal, and tomorrow is the day, and you can't reschedule. And the entire company, it was this thing of, we're rehearsal, and right now Sharon is being a mom legally, and one of the producers asked if he could attend, and there was such a overwhelming feeling of love and support and excitement. And every time I would do a show and something came up for Elijah, every show after I became a legal mom has embraced my son. I've had companies where I just start rehearsal. We don't know each other well enough for them to be as wonderful as they are. And it's his birthday, and I'm in rehearsal and can't be with him. And they're like, happy birthday, like things like that, where they're sending messages to a kid they never met.
yeah.
But are like, but he's your kid, and so we love him too. I've felt that on every single project, every show, every workshop. If I had to, when I was in Head Over Heels, Elijah was in middle school, and he had the role of Shrek. And I was on Broadway, and I was like, I have to make it. And I think Anika knows this about me. I never miss a show. I
No,
never
ever,
met like that. I don't.
ever.
It wasn't even a thing. I was like, I have to make my son's opening night. He's playing Shrek, and the way they got together to go, you're going to you're going to make it. You're going to. And my friend Rachel York, I was the standby. I wasn't in the show. I was her standby. So I was only in the show when she was out. And on more than one occasion, Rachel, who's also a mom, adjusted her schedule for mine.
Mm.
One time she was really, really sick. And in order for me to go and see my son, she made that one more show so that I could go and then come back. What? Like,
Yeah.
and I love her. I mean, she's, a dear friend of mine, but I never forgot her for that. Like, we've talked about it recently, and I'm like, you made it possible for me to be with my son at a very important time. And how could I not have you in my heart forever?
Yeah.
And that has always been the way it is with Days of Wine and Roses. It's always been like that.
Yeah.
Anything, he graduated from high school, and I was doing a show. I was doing Anna Green Gables.
Mm.
They were just as excited. I get so overwhelmed by it because we had just gotten together, and they were like, he's graduating, it's a big deal.
Mm.
That's why I always say I love us. And I know people can say what they want about actors, and I will look at them and go and fight me on it. I love us so much. It's the most giving and loving community, and I really, really don't care what anybody says because I'm right about it. I love so much our community of artists and technicians. I really do.
Yeah.
I really do.
Okay. So, Jen, you were just alluding to this idea a little bit, but I'm curious how becoming a parent has changed your perspective on your career and your choices that you make. What do you think about that? And you were saying sometimes you're willing to walk away if they won't, accommodate you as a parent. Does it
Yeah, and
affect? Yeah.
I say that, as you said, from a place of privilege.
Yeah.
Not being in a 2 artist family now makes a difference.
Yeah.
So I'm aware of that. There's a lot of times, and there have been times even in our marriage where I have to take the job, but not all the time. I would say that as an artist, becoming a parent just deepened everything. It deepened the well, and it also got me out of the trap of perfectionism because you can't, especially with auditions. I think
Yeah.
I have so much more bandwidth for preparing, and I still, do my very best to prepare as best I can, but that has changed a lot. And then so it helps me just say, well, this is what I
Mm-hmm.
got.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's freeing.
Yeah.
um but the depth of just lived experience, the freedom from perfectionism, um and the willingness to put our family first and say, I love my work. I love what I do. But at the end of it all, like, I'm not going to be lying there being like, oh, I should have taken that job at
Right.
XYZ.
Yeah.
So it does affect what I'll say yes to. And even, touring is not really You know, I think touring is great when you've got littles, or or if you could put the kids in online schools. We did that during COVID. Actually, that was fun.
Mm.
Traveled the country in our camper. um, but when they get involved in the things that they're interested in, you know, I don't want to take them out and I don't want to go away. So, you know, for this season of my life, like that's not, I mean, you know, my agents will say like if it's like a game changing experience, like if it's, but other than that, like, nah, not now.
Yeah. What about you, Sharon?
Yeah, I think when you're younger and before you have a family, there are certain changes that you always hear are like, oh my gosh, you know, because your career is the most important thing. And then when you become a parent, it's so seamless, the change in your heart, the growth in your heart. Um, as I said in the beginning, and Jen, you just said this. You love your career so much, but it's just nothing in comparison to the love you have for your child. And yeah, things like touring. You know, when I worked with you, Anika, that was part of it. 8 years of being on the road. I went from one show to another show to the eight years of just being solidly booked from show to show to show. And that is in the past. I mean, I don't have the kind of life that wants to spend that kind of time away from my son. Now look, he's 19, okay? This is from my point of view. My son does not want me to be underneath his underarms, you know, just like, let me miss you, mom. Like he does. I'm just saying, I want to be available. He's not calling me 24 hours a day going, are you still here in New York?
Mhm.
It's like, but but I'm here and because, you know, just in case. And I'm happy to have adjusted what I'll do and what I won't do in my career to be uh, to make sure that I'm not away for long periods of time. That's not a it doesn't feel like a sacrifice at all. It just feels normal. It's not like a pat pat myself on the back kind of thing. It's like, well, we're mothers. Those are the decisions we make. There's and Jen said it perfectly because at the end, because I also have this other crazy layer because I just lost my dad. And I
Mhm.
can assure you,
Will you please tell
I
everybody about your parents? Tell them about your parents, and how having parents who were performers enriched your life or made it more challenging, maybe in some ways, and how has that affected you as a parent?
um it's the family business and I'm always so proud. I am a double legacy Broadway baby with a twist. So a Broadway legacy baby is all, you know, it's already rare. I'm both parents. My dad, Johnny Brown, made his Broadway debut in Golden Boy with Sammy Davis Jr. He was Sammy's protege. He was Mr. Bookman on a show that ran for a long time called Good Times, but he's done a million, like so much television. And my dad was also in a show on Broadway called Carry Me Back to Morningside Heights, which was directed by Sidney Poitier.
Mm.
My mother was in the first all black show on Broadway called Memphis Bound when she was a little girl on Broadway with my grandmother, with her mom. That's why I say double
So
Broadway
cool.
legacy baby with a twist.
Yeah.
So my mom was the little girl, one of the children, and my grandmother was one of the dancing girls in the ensemble, and Bill Robinson was the star. And the theater is what is now the Belasco Theater. That's
Mhm.
where. So and my parents always let me know it was a business. That's why when actors and writers have to go on strike because they're like, hey, I've always known that it was a business for us as well. Because usually when we're asking for something, somebody will turn to us and go, well, it's a business. And I'm like, I know it's a business for us. Yes, it's a business for all of us. That's why it has to be fair, because we all have to pay rent and we all have to eat, and raise families. And my parents always taught me that. I always knew. So I'm finding out how much it affects me as a parent. And the thing about being a parent for me is it will allow you, it's more, I want to say it in a positive way, it allows you to check your motives and your agenda and your reasons behind it. You kind of come face to face with certain things and say, there are certain things you teach your children that are common sense, and everybody can agree on that. But then there are other things that you teach your children because either consciously or unconsciously, you kind of want to put your stamp on them. So for me, oh, did you hear my voice crack? I don't want to go through puberty again, but did you hear that? I did a David Schwimmer just now, or me. That is the family business. My son, although extremely talented, he's such a good actor, you guys. He wants no parts of it. And I caught feelings about that, but not wanting to look at him and go, what do you mean? I never did that. But inside, I had all kinds of things to check. Because for me, this is the greatest industry on the planet. And I never understood people who made their living in this industry and didn't, want their kids to be, it's the family business. And also, so many people look at us as we have a hobby with benefits. And I'm like, no, not in an industry that makes $1 bazillion a year. No, this is, so, I would always find myself going, Elijah, your school is doing whatever the show is. You would kill in that role. And I really had to before it, became out of control, because my parents didn't do that. My parents were parents first. They weren't show business parents, sing out Louise, none of that. And I was like, you cannot be that. I was like, I felt it welling up inside of me that I wanted to look at him and go, what do you mean you don't want this? And so I had to check that, why did it feel like a rejection? And it's because, this is so much the family business and so much a part of me. It felt like a rejection of it. No, you want your kids to do what is in their heart to do and find their passion. And I was having that Miranda Priestley moment of, everybody wants to be us. Who doesn't want to be us? And he doesn't want to be us, So, and it was harder for me because if he stunk, I would be able to be like, if he wasn't good, I would be more subtle with him and go, yeah, thank you. But he happens to be a really good actor. And this was a lesson for me to go, just chill out. It's not you have your stamp on him in the way of, be a decent human being. But this ego is going, you don't want to be an actor, so that just taught me that I have things that I have to learn about.
Jenn, because your kids also have both parents who are performers, and so do you guys have strong feelings about whether or not your kids, and have your kids shown any interest in performing?
We don't have strong feelings because we just want them to be the best them, whatever that's going to be. The oldest one doesn't want to touch it with a 10-foot pole. She said recently, she's like, oh, maybe I'll try one show, but she's more of a sporty spice. And and she's that. And she just and she's a lovely voice, but no, she's funny. I can say this because she likes money. She likes stuff. She likes lotions and potions. That's another thing I love about her. Back to that first question. I love that she knows what she's doing. She's 14 and I was not that at 14. I'm still not that at 48, but she has like mermaid hair and like knows how to everything. Like if I have a question about like what lash enhancer to use, like she's gonna answer it for me. And she's funny. She's like, no, yeah, I would not be surprised if she goes into just business. And then but she's right next door, so now I'll talk quiet. that little ham bone that you saw that came in, I would not be surprised. And she's always singing, and I'm in a play reading group. Allison Simmet has this play reading group called Bonfire, theatrical group, and it's just for playwrights to hear their stuff, or sometimes even for us actors just to get together and just read a script just to stay, unrusty. And there was a new piece that needed a precocious 6-year-old. And she's like, do you think Charlie Jane would do it? I said, I'll ask her. And she's like, yeah. And she did great.
So great.
But I would never, I hope if she loves ballet and like doing dance stuff, we'll see if she gets into the musicals. But speaking of you,
and her cue.
And she's my readers. Those are Dad's readers. We've crossed the line. We're playing trombone now. Do you think you might want to be an actor?
I'm still thinking about that.
She's still thinking about that.
You've got time to still think about it.
Plenty of time. Yeah, plenty of time.
Hey, yeah. Charlie, do you want to stick around for the lightning round? Because time has flown by and it is time for the lightning round.
What do you think?
Yeah. Sure. All right.
I love her name.
You can tell us if you think your mom's answers are the right answers, okay? Okay. You guys ready? This is the lightning round. It's how we always end our show. There's no wrong answers. They just have to be fast.
All right, I'm sweating already, though.
I know. All right.
My pants are sweating.
Here we go. Everybody ready?
Mm-hmm.
Who would you rather babysat your kids? Robin Williams is Mrs. Doubtfire from the movie, or Rob McClure's Mrs. Doubtfire from the play? Jen.
Easy peasy, Rob McClure.
Same.
Yeah,
Rob McClure.
I knew this was a Rob McClure loving crowd, so
I love him so much.
Started you off with the softball. All right, now it's getting rougher. All right, what is your go-to meal to serve your kids when you can't be bothered to cook? Sharon.
Oh, I'm a vegan, and he doesn't want anything that I need. Oh, well, pancakes. He loves my pancakes. He says my pancakes are the best in the world.
Air fryer for the win. Chicken nuggets and French fries. Yeah.
Sweet. Have you ever we did this, talk about this a little bit before. Have you ever totally blown an audition because you just couldn't get your act together to prepare for it because of your kids, Jen?
Oh, yeah. I can't remember which one, but the answer would definitely be yeah.
Yes, Sharon?
No.
What?
No.
Not cool.
No.
I mean, you know what? Truth be told, I don't think it was blowing it. It felt like blowing it. Do you know what I mean? I think you get to a point where,
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean because I feel like it happens to me all the time. Okay. Sorry, Tim. Jen and I have the same agent. Sorry, Tim. All right. This is the slowest lightning round, you guys. All right, let's pick it up. All right. What percentage of the time was or is your kids' homework beyond you? Sharon.
All the time.
All the time? Jen.
Joe's is like getting there, I would say like maybe 60%.
Okay. What about Charlie's? You still with her?
I still got her covered. She's only in second grade.
Okay, cool. All right. Finish this lyric as a parent. And I am telling you, I'm not blank. Jen.
Picking up your stuff off the floor anymore.
Sharon.
Same.
Chutes and Ladders or Connect Four? Sharon.
I've never played either one of those.
What? Jen.
I was working.
Yeah. Chutes and Ladders.
Okay. Last question. Which of these plays best describes your experience parenting? All Shook Up, Head Over Heels, Wicked, or The Days of Wine and Roses? Sharon.
That's not fair. All shook up.
Jen.
Yeah, I'm all shook up.
Yes, all right. Ding, 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 ding. Wait, I am being told all your answers are correct. Do you think that's true, Charlie? Did they get the answers right?
Yeah.
Oh, thank goodness. I was so nervous. All right, you both win.
Woo!
Keep checking your mail. Something might arrive. Thank you guys so much. Jenn, Sharon, Charlie, thank you for joining us tonight. Thank you to Maddie for stopping by. Oh, thank you to my friend and our wonderful technical director, Jason Crispin. Thank you to Nicole and all the good and lovely people who work tirelessly at New York City Children's Theater. And thank you to you for watching. If you enjoyed this evening and you think you know others who would enjoy it, you can feel free to share it. This episode will live on forever on YouTube, and we've got other episodes on there too. Our next Meet the Parent is March, and actually all of our past discussions are available and viewable on our website. And if you want to be sure not to miss anything, you can sign up for the New York City Children's Theater mailing list on our website. Good night, everyone. See you next time.